Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Black Accountant. It's your boy Mo, and if you haven't already done so, you know the drill. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments of any kind of content you want to see going forward. But most importantly, don't forget to turn on notification bells so you get notified when I drop new videos. Man, I think it's been almost a week since my last video, but today I wanted to talk a little bit about socializing after college. And it's funny because I think it's socializing after college, but I kind of want to add in parentheses a little bit post-pandemic, um, because I graduated literally the semester right before the pandemic really hit. So I graduated in December 2019, and then I didn't get to walk in the spring because of the whole COVID thing. They kept delaying the the graduation walk until it was no longer an option, and even when it became an option, it was like I'd already been graduated for years, so there was no real reason to go, if that makes any sense. But yeah, graduating or I'm sorry, socializing post college is very different because number one, you're no longer in an environment that's curated for you, right? So your entire life, and I'm assuming for most people, the typical progression of from like elementary school, middle school, high school to college, um, you're always sort of in an environment of other people, a scholastic or a scholarly or a studious type environment. There's people around your age who are there to either get a degree or there to complete their high school or complete their schooling. So there's always an environment or a pool of people for you to get to know. And there's a lot of common interests and common ground where you're all studying together or you're all in the same major or you're involved in the same clubs. Whereas after you graduate from college, it's sort of up to you to make the effort. You have to chase the scenarios, you have to chase these circles, the social circles that you want to be a part of. And I would argue that it is a little bit more difficult to do, um, solely because it puts the entire control in your hands, right? As I just mentioned, you're no longer in these social circles. You have to go create the social circles or go look for those social circles. And a lot of times when you come out of college, you're already either working full time or looking for work, and you don't really have a lot of experience for a lot of people going about doing that or going about introducing yourself to people. It's almost like being in sales, right? Where you need to kind of find new people. There's no warm leads of people that you already kind of know, unless you want to hang out with the same people you were hanging out with in college who haven't um, really moved on or are still living in the same area. Um, and it's cool because that lasts typically for another 2 or 3 years before everything sort of trails off, unless you really make the effort to maintain and keep those connections. Now, I'm not going to say that it's impossible because it definitely is not, but I would say it's difficult, um, because even though we have apps and you have a lot of options of trying to meet with people, I think the biggest crutch tied to that right now, or at least that I found a lot of people in my circle suffering from, and something that I also didn't realize I suffered from until more recently, is the pandemic, right? I've always been somewhat of a loner. I really enjoy my own space, hence me moving to a completely different state without really knowing anybody over here. Um, and I can entertain myself. But for most people, the pandemic kind of had this effect of making people spend a lot more time with themselves, where you become either more comfortable with yourself or you've created at this point a routine that works for you and you've become very comfortable in it. And it takes a lot more to disturb that. It takes a lot more to make the effort to hang out, to create plans, to go outside, to touch grass, because you've now developed this routine or this comfortability, and it may or may not be a good thing. I think for some people, they always do want friends, they also want to hang out, but they just want somebody else to consistently hang out with them or call them first or bring them out or call them out, and not really do much on the other hand. It's sort of like this laziness dilemma of, yeah, man, it would be nice to hang out with people, but do I really want to make the effort to create this or to call people or to make plans or to plan something? And it sort of becomes this baggage or this hassle in your mind instead of just something straightforward and normal that you could do. You could just hang out. You could, it doesn't need to be that serious. Hanging out actually does not need to be something major. You don't have to always go get drinks. You don't always have to go to a bar. You don't always have to go do some major activity. For me, maybe I'm just an old man or an old soul, but my hangouts mostly consist of just talking to people or just chilling with people in whatever environment. Like we could literally be doing nothing and just sitting around and talking about something. As long as it's not something negative or talking about other people, I'm cool on that. Um, but that's why I would say is really difficult post college because there's the pandemic aspect, there's the lack of environment aspect, and then also that little tinge of being set in your own ways, where sometimes you may feel that you've outgrown your college self, or you're in just in a headspace where you're either worried too much about the future, or you're sort of in a shifting mentality of taking on more responsibility that doesn't allow you to be as fun or really in that same social bag that you were in back when you were in college. So I'm not saying these things as excuses because for me, I've been pushing myself. I consistently go out and talk to people, but also I still enjoy my own space. But for people who are waiting for somebody to come and drag you out of your funk, or somebody to always invite you to stuff, you know, get used to being rejected, and please stop taking it so personally, because especially post college, people are usually on a grind. People are usually either working full time, and then real life responsibility hits more and more as you progress in age, so people are not going to be as willing or have as much time to hang out. But you should still ask anyway, because chances are some people will have the time and will make the time to hang out with you, some other times they won't, but you'll never know unless you try. And I think the more we make ourselves that person that does the first approach or does that first step, the more likely you are to get back, especially if you add a level of understanding to it. That's all I really had for today's video. Just obviously a bit of a quick reminder and also an observation, but I wanted to just sort of put it out there. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to comment in the section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.